I'm bringing Rachel on today because of where she is in her journey, which is very early in her journey, but where she is in her journey. And I just think she has a lot of value to bring to people who may be in a similar situation or thinking about getting started. Rachel's story is just one of inspiration. So I wanted her to share that with you today. And Rachel, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. And why don't you just tell our listeners a little bit more about yourself?
Yeah, thanks, David. I'm really excited to be here and thank you guys for having me on today. But I am a physical therapist living in Evansville, Indiana. I've been here a little over 2.5 years now. My husband, or now husband, and I moved up here for his job. He's a baseball coach at the university. Before we moved here, we were living in Starkville, Mississippi. So I've got to say, go Bulldogs on that. And that's where we met, and baseball brought us here.
I love it. And I know that your husband is AJ is a baseball coach, a pitching coach, and what I like is I've had a few conversations with you and AJ, and as you're going along in this journey, it's been fun to be able to relate a lot of things to in baseball terms, which I know
Yes.
you're able to understand, and AJ gets it. So it's been a lot of fun, and it just goes to show that sport and art imitates life. So I've gotten to know the two of you, and it's just a true pleasure. Let me ask you, Rachel. What led you to becoming a physical therapist? I know your husband is a baseball coach, and a lot of people get into therapy because of sports and sport injury. But I'm curious, what led you to becoming a physical therapist?
So I've always wanted to be in the healthcare field, and honestly, I can't tell you why, because neither one of my parents are in the healthcare field. I think there's maybe one person in my family older than me who's in healthcare. But I always just really wanted to help people. Started off with wanting to become a vet, but my mom quickly talked me out of that. She knew I wouldn't be able to handle it. So, because I love dogs too much to do anything but just hug them.
Right. Yeah. I could be
But
a vet if I could treat only dogs. I think that would be all right. Or
right,
horses,
like
maybe
no
horses
others,
too.
just dogs. Right. So always wanted to help people. And I grew up, when I was younger, going through different like sports like ballet, gymnastics, but nothing ever stuck. And then I got into horseback riding. So I did equestrian like show jumping through high school. So I actually had an injury when I, fell off my horse and broke my arm. So I went to OT actually and had to get use of my hand and wrist back. But while I was there, like I loved it. I loved my therapist. She was amazing. She and I are still friends. And after that, I was like, well, that was really cool, but I think I want to go into pharmacy. So went into that with my major in college. Learned very quickly I didn't like it because I hate math. You got to do a lot of math with pharmacy. So I was like, well, maybe I can do like sports medicine. I really liked OT. And then I just started learning more about physical therapy and kind of what it does. So I pursued that. Everyone told me like at that time, like, oh, being a physical therapist is great. You make good money, you help people, all of this stuff. And I was like, yeah, like that sounds great. I'm down. So went to PT school, and obviously I'm now a PT myself. So
I love it. I love, I had a similar story, except unlike most people who get into therapy, I didn't get into therapy because of an injury. I did play sports, grew up playing tennis, but like you, nobody in my family had anything to do with the healthcare field. But at the suggestion of my parents to call the local physical therapy clinic to see if I could volunteer during the summer, just to see what physical therapy was all about, because they knew that I enjoyed sports. I enjoyed being healthy and helping others. They said, why don't you go check this out? So, similar story. That's how I got into physical therapy. But how long have you been practicing?
I graduated PT school in May of 2015. So almost 6 years now.
Okay. And you started out initially in what, a outpatient setting?
Yes. So I'm not going to go too much into detail on that. That's a story for a different day, but I did start off an outpatient. It was not a good situation. I quickly left there and went into another outpatient. I decided to move out of my home state of Mississippi and kind of explore some different options while I was young and not really tied down. So I found a new job in Florida, moved to Florida, I really enjoyed it because I actually enjoyed being at the clinic and learning from people who, had been in it for years and could teach me a lot. I learned a lot there, but it did not work out because I was seeing too many patients at once in a day, and I was getting really burnt out. And as a new grad, I just felt really overwhelmed from a patient care and quality of care aspect. So that is when I was like, I don't think I like outpatient very much. But moved back home, took a job with a travel contract at a skilled nursing facility. Really liked that because I wasn't seeing 3 or 4 patients at once. Loved working with the older population. I feel like even now, like I can talk to an older person way better than I can talk to someone who's my age. I was raised with my grandparents being very present. And so I feel like I was always able to connect with older people because of my grandparents. And I've done home health, I've done some acute care, working a lot of PRN in the last year. Currently at an outpatient job just for the next few days, actually.
That's right.
So that's where
And
we
then
are
becoming
today.
fully uncaged. I love it.
Becoming uncaged.